Hey friends, welcome to another episode of the Soulful Entrepreneur podcast. I am so excited because George Kao, my favorite business mentor, is here. I'm really grateful that I met him online, that he's taking the time to be here. I will share a little story before officially welcoming him. So, around 1 year and a half ago, I was almost giving up on my online business, not in the business itself, but in the online part of it, because I really didn't resonate with all these mainstream marketing advice. I followed many marketing coaches. I joined masterminds. I paid for trainings, and they were useful. I got the foundations of business, but there was something off. And I remember I was having a conversation with one of my entrepreneur friends. I was telling him, like, maybe I will just stay offline. I will do my workshops in the city I live in, and I will just leave the marketing world and the online world. But deep down, I wanted, because I like to travel, and that's the beauty of having an online business. um, and then he mentioned, like, why don't you check George? I was like, who's him? And then it's when I started to check George podcast and on YouTube, and it was such a different perspective and a different approach on doing business that it really helped me. So I want to thank you for that, George, and thank you for sharing everything that you do. Like, your perspective is really unique, and that's why you are here today.
Oh, thank you so much, Ali. What an honor, and also to be mentioned by that mutual friend. I'm so grateful. I mean, I'm still always surprised when I hear, oh, I heard about you from so and so. I'm like, oh, people are talking about me. That's amazing. But that's
Yeah.
what happens over the years as we just keep showing up again and again with as much authenticity as we can. People start talking about us. And anyway, I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you, George. And I think I've consumed so much content of you that now for me, I kind of learned and speak your language. But before getting started, I want to, yeah, like, I want to start by just sharing with the listeners who maybe are not familiar with these terms, to explain what does it mean. For example, when we talk about the light side of marketing versus the dark side, or let's say the soul based business versus ego based business. Can you share what does it mean to you, this light side and
Yeah.
the dark side?
Well, sadly, the dark side is usually what we see in marketing, because the dark side is, it seems to get results faster because when we try to control or and manipulate our audience, which is what much of advertising tries to do. It tries to move us through certain emotions towards a buying decision or a signing up decision. And when we, as adults, it's like, think about it this way. If you knew that somebody else, you met somebody and you feel like, this person is trying to make me feel this and then get me to try to do this, you probably would say, yeah, I'm not sure I want to be their friend because when you're with them, you feel they have a hidden agenda,
Yeah.
um, and or a transparent agenda that you don't align with. Either way, but it's like they're trying to make you do certain things, and we don't like that. We want our friends, the people we be with, to be almost innocently interested in connecting with us and in sharing who they are without trying to make us do this or make us do that, right?
Yeah.
So this is what marketing, this is the dichotomy, the difference between the light side and the dark side of marketing, in my opinion. The dark side is very, well, like you said, it's based on the ego trying to manipulate and control
Yeah.
reality, which is trying to make other people decide to do this or to do that. Versus the light side is where we invite the expression of the soul, which has
Mhm.
innocence and passion
Mhm.
and compassion.
Yeah.
And the soul says, I'm going to share what is true and what is real for me. And sure, we also sell things, but we sell things as more of an invitation, like like you know, like a child might be inviting another child to
Mhm.
play, to say, hey, why don't you come and play with me here? I really like this toy. I really like this playground or whatever. There's an innocence there that
Mhm.
that is just, a humble invitation, and not not an adult manipulating. So, well, let me move you through this motion. That. So the light side, there's innocence, there's soulful expression, and then there's also detachment to results.
Mhm.
Because there's a lightness of touch, right? And that's part of the soul to say, you know what? The soul looks much longer term. The
Mhm.
soul looks at
Mhm.
eternity and
Yeah.
say, I don't have to make you do this or make you do that. If I
Mhm.
show up consistently, as authentically and as soulfully as I can,
Mhm.
I know that I trust and I surrender and I
Mhm.
trust that my soulmates will find me.
Mhm. Mhm.
And when they find me, they will resonate with me.
Yeah.
And then I will figure out how do I invite them in a gentle and humble and um, compassionate way
Yeah.
to come play with me in my services and my programs and my
Mhm.
products.
Mhm.
And sometimes some of them will want to play with me and some of them won't, but I will not give up on them, right? I will simply
Mhm.
gently invite them. Oh, let me try this. Let me try that. There's a lightness of experimentation and
Mhm.
offerings. So just to give you a sense, those of you who are
Mhm.
listening or watching, a sense of what that means for light side versus dark side of marketing.
Mhm. Oh, I love the explanation. And well, at this point, I can see that you are, let's say, more experienced, or like you are further in this, let's call it enlightenment journey or spiritual journey. But for the ones who are really beginners, like it's our first, second, third year in business, and we want to be on the light side. We want to have a soul based business or a purposeful business. How can we catch ourselves when we are working from the ego? How is that voice? Because sometimes I have it in my mind, like it related to likes, to vanity metrics, to or how do I look in camera? Like all this, it's the voice is always there.
Yes.
Have you recognized any other voice in you or in your clients that you say like, ah, okay, that's they not to
Yeah.
judge it, but just to recognize it and shift it into a more, yeah, soul compassionate
Yeah.
voice, tender voice.
So much of the society around us is ego based, because that's mostly how we grow up coping
Mhm.
with the realities of life, with other people, with trying to gain status,
Yeah.
with trying to get security. Um, you know, and so it's actually very normal for us to hear those ego voices when
Mhm.
we're doing anything, but
Yeah.
especially when it comes to marketing or business, where it is about trying to gain some I mean, marketing, gaining followers is gaining status. We have to admit to that, right? So it's so in other words, we are kind of playing in the ego world, the dark world.
Mhm.
We are simply trying to bring some light to it, and that's the aim. That's my hope. And so the voices might, well, to me, the main voice of the ego and the dark side of marketing and business is whatever I'm doing is a means to an end. I'm
Mhm.
just doing this so that I can get that.
Yeah.
Okay. So, for example, oh, I am just going to make a video or I'm going to post some content so that I can get clients.
Yeah.
That's why I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Okay. Immediately, you are already on the dark side.
Yeah.
Immediately, you are no longer paying attention to the work itself of showing up authentically.
Mhm.
Because if you're doing something to get clients, you're
Mhm.
instantly not authentic
Yeah.
because you're not really mindful of what your soul wants to express at this time because you're
Mhm.
so concerned, you're attached to
Mhm.
the results of getting likes, getting clients,
Mhm.
or anything
Mhm.
like that. So any kind of means to an end, this activity I'm doing is not worthwhile in itself. It's not a
Mhm.
spiritual practice in
Mhm.
itself. It's
Mhm.
just so that I can get clients. And then
Mhm.
once I get clients and when I'm with them, then
Yeah.
I can be spiritual and then I can be soul based,
Mhm.
when I make enough money and then I go on vacation or I'm on the weekend I'm resting, then I can be soulful and authentic. And well, then are you postponing most of your life? That's right, right. It's like most of our waking hours are spent working.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, why are we not using most of our waking hours to help to support our
Yeah.
spiritual growth? Why do we have to wait until we are at a spiritual retreat or at church
Exactly.
or when we're meditating in the morning or evening? Why does it have to be only those times? Why can't be the entire day is supportive of our and purposeful for our spiritual growth? And so I hope this is helpful to kind of give a overview of those kinds of voices. Yeah,
Yeah, but you just touched on a topic I have written down because I just came back from a holiday in Tulum and all this
wonderful. Wow.
Mayan Rivera, and
Yeah,
Tulum is like a hub for spiritual events. Let's say, no, this cacao ceremony, ecstatic dance, and I had the same reflection or realization when I was, because I like to journal when I'm on holidays. And I was like, why do we wait, or why do we think that we need to attend a spiritual retreat or a yoga retreat to actually be spiritual? Because actually you are relaxed when you are there. You are, of course, you're in a good mood, you are chilling, you are happy and all that. But the real spiritual growth is when things don't go as you want, like when you are sending an email, when you are doing your accounting, when, I don't know, a client reacted in a different way. All that, all these
yeah,
little
yeah,
actions, daily actions, are actually spiritual growth. I don't know, how do you see that? How
yeah,
do you see when do you grow the most, in the
yeah.
challenging situations, or how have you seen that through
I
your
think
business?
I think
Hmm.
that's brilliant. That example that you just gave and the reflection there, because I look at life as a soul gym. Okay, it's like
Hmm.
a workout for the soul,
Hmm.
and just like you go to the gym has these workout machines, and then the gym also has, a vending machine with some snacks, and they have a bathroom, they have a lounge where you can go and relax and maybe talk with other people who are there, and just that's like going on vacation. That's like going to a spiritual retreat. That's like
Yes.
going to spiritual ceremonies and events. It's wonderful. Of course you should rest. Of course you should
Yeah.
relax and
Yeah.
and and regain your strength again, regain your
Hmm.
motivation again,
Yeah.
to go back to the workout of, okay, I'm here to I'm going to the gym not to relax in the lounge. Right? I mean, I could do that anywhere. Yeah, but which in my opinion is sort of like, I do believe in the continuity of the soul, and it's like after this bodily life we get to relax a lot as much as we want to, but while we're here in this very short life, it's like spending an afternoon in the gym. We're going there to build our muscles. We're not going there to use the vending machine and to go to the lounge and to the bathroom. Okay. We're going to build our, and so this is why we're here. And so, yes, we will go to spiritual events to renew, but then we're back in regular life
Yeah.
where that's where the action really is. That's where
Exactly.
where the muscle growth really is happening. This is where we're using the the machines of the gym, to the
Exactly.
weights.
Yeah.
We're using weights, right? It's like, oh, okay, when we're using weights, we're not like, oh, this is well, I mean, I was going to say this, most people don't go, this is so much fun. But actually, athletes have trained themselves
Yeah.
to actually look forward and enjoy the
Enjoy.
so-called pain
Yeah.
of using the weights of the gym. It's not pleasurable in the shallow body sense, right? When
Mm-hmm.
we're pushing something difficult.
Mm-hmm.
But athletes have said, no, I can see the long-term effect, and I've
Mm-hmm.
connected the long-term benefit of good muscles
Yeah.
with this feeling that I'm having right now of difficulty.
Yeah.
And so this is what a spiritual athlete does as well.
Yeah.
We connect, oh, a difficulty has come up. Oh, a challenge. Oh, a triggering moment
Yeah.
has made some old, trauma or old conditioning come back. This is the moment of
Mm-hmm.
exercising my muscles. How will I respond consciously with compassion? How would I respond consciously with forgiveness of myself,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
of the other? How can I respond with courage in this moment? How can I
Mm-hmm.
respond
Mm-hmm.
with joy?
Yeah.
And how can I, whether it's a difficult client or difficult email or a difficult problem in our business, or maybe it's boring. And right now,
Yeah.
oh, I just want to get this thing done so I
Yeah.
can go to doing something more fun.
Yeah.
Well, wait a second. If I have to do this thing, if I cannot automate this task or outsource the task, if I'm the one who has to do it, why does it have to be boring? Why can't it be an act of curiosity or
Mhm.
of playfulness or even of seeing how this connects to being able to serve my people
Yeah.
more compassionately? How can this act itself, whatever
Yeah.
task we're doing, be one of love?
Exactly. Oh, I love this approach. And I will start with my rants. You also have your rants. I will start because there was this boom of like, I think it was mostly during the pandemic time that there was this boom of coaches like manifesting and like digital nomads and all that. And I got caught on those. Like I was following them. I wanted to be one of them. And everything looked so good. Like they were, drinking in their coconut and from Bali or something like that. And it looked beautiful, everything, no? And then when you see the reality, is it's a more holistic approach. Like of course you will do things that you might not be so sexy, you might not like it that much. There are also creative parts, and yeah, also beautiful parts of the business, but I think some of us see that much on Instagram, this beautiful approach of, yeah, like manifest is so easy and abundance is so easy, and if it's not easy for you, it's because you have limiting beliefs. That kind of part for me was like, okay, I will start unfollowing those accounts, and I'll just find my own way to enjoy all the activities. At this point, maybe I don't want to delegate some of those activities, so I better like them. So I think it's so nice. That's why I also started following you, because you show all the parts. It's a holistic business. You also have probably the editing parts or the publishing parts, the not so sexy parts, but there are parts of your business. And I think the key there is not to stop doing them or just to delegate them, but to actually find joy in doing them. So I don't know, how do you see this
I think it's
realistic approach?
I think it's a wonderful, practice, really, and it's such an important perspective you just brought, because most of our day
Mm.
is not spent, working deeply with a client or authentically expressing ourselves in our content. That's not most of the working day. Most of the
Mhm.
working day, what did I do this morning? I made sure I checked some email. I had to
Mm.
respond to some clients. Oh, I had to plan, something that's coming up. I mean, most, like you said, most of the day is not, sipping coconut
Yeah.
mai tais on the beach and saying, "I'm abundant. Money's
Mhm.
coming in." Well, where does money come in? Money comes. Our income comes from other people's spending. Like we have to understand this. Like abundance and manifesting abundance means, okay, not, it's not just about money, but let's talk money for a moment. It's like our money comes from other people deciding to spend money with us. Well, why did they decide to spend money with us? Because we have value to offer them.
Yeah.
We have a service that's really worth paying for. We feel it's
Exactly.
worth paying for.
Yeah.
They feel it's worth
Yeah.
paying for. And so therefore they pay for it, and we therefore deliver it. But all along the way, we have to do so many things to
Yeah.
get to that point. And so all the things we have to do, it's what is that? That's just to be eliminated? No, we cannot eliminate it. If we cannot, some things can be eliminated, but if we
Yeah.
cannot eliminate it, or we cannot automate it, or we cannot outsource it,
Mm.
then we have to appreciate it.
Yeah.
We have to appreciate the day to day so-called grind or the work.
Mhm.
Because if we only look at the people who are, on the beach and manifesting, it's kind of like we are looking at, again, if this life is like a soul gym, a gym
Mhm.
for the
Mm.
soul, then it's
Mhm.
almost like we're looking at advertisements about the gym where people are just hanging out in the lounge. And like, it's like I'm not. I'm not interested in going to a gym where people are just hanging out in the lounge. I'm
Yeah.
interested in going to a gym where people are working out, but
Mhm.
and I can tell that they're getting results.
Mhm.
They're becoming stronger,
Yeah.
and they even enjoy the workout. Like I want
Yeah.
to see that. So I want to see people. I mean, ironically, what we should see, instead of people on the beach manifesting money, we should be seeing people working but bringing joyful productivity to the work. Like
Mhm.
that's much more not only realistic, but it's much more supportive of the
Yeah.
actual progress people are
Yeah.
going to make. So, yeah,
Exactly.
thanks for bringing that up.
Thank you, George. And I read your book. It's the newest edition of one of your older books. I still have the review pending. I enjoyed it so much, especially the part that you showed like the kind of the plan for your business, like year one, year two, and for me that's the first time I see um,
Now the 10-year plan.
the 10-year plan. It's very realistic. It can be faster, it can take longer, but I really liked how you lay down like you will get started sharing your content, then you will go on one-on-ones, and then the so-called passive income will come later on because you need a bigger audience, you need to craft better your products. That's the first time like I see it so so honest approach to that, because again, other coaches would sell their methods or their programs like, oh, it's very easy, start making passive income and you won't need to work. It takes time to do that. And then when I saw that on your book and on your content, it's like, yeah, it's, again, it's not so sexy because we want magical formulas, but why would you sell magical formulas if they are not working?
Yeah,
So I appreciate the honesty, actually.
yeah. Well, so if it was that easy, everyone would be doing it.
Exactly.
And there
Exactly.
would be very little value in the work. Think about this. What is work? Okay. Is work just to be gotten rid of? Is that the point of life? Is everybody should not be working. We should all just receive money from the government and
Yeah.
then we should go and play and as artists. Now, some people might like that, and universal basic income, universal basic services. I can understand the appeal to that. But regardless, even if there's government money and we just don't have to work anymore,
Hmm.
we're still going to be bored. We're still going to want to make the world better. Okay.
Yeah.
And making the world better means making the world different as it is now, making our lives better, making our skills better, which is
Yeah.
different from the current status quo, which means we're going to have to stretch and extend ourselves. That's how we make things better for ourselves and for the world. And so that's the main thing I think people are making mistake in their perspective is, oh, work is bad. What are you talking about? Again, are we not here as souls in this gymnasium to work out, to
Hmm.
grow our spiritual muscles?
Hmm.
If you don't understand that, then you're always going to be resisting and avoiding so-called work. But
Yeah.
no, I have learned, and you as well, like we have both learned to befriend, I think, a more practical purpose in life, which is to make work meaningful and joyful
Hmm.
and graceful
Yeah.
and supportive of the
Hmm.
soul's growth. Like
Yes.
that itself is both going to make the world a better place, it's going to make our lives better,
Yeah.
and we're not going to be avoidant, procrastinating, resistant, and
Yeah.
thinking we should just be on the beach all the time.
Hmm.
And so this 10-year plan, right, for authentic business, it's not the point is not to say, well, gosh, when do I get to the end of the 10 years when I have,
Yeah.
full passive income, relaxing on the beach?
Yeah.
Because again, we are making the perspective mistake of saying all those 10 years are a waste of time, are bad. No, those 10 years be filled with joyful productivity,
Exactly.
with graceful approach every single day. We are growing our soul minute by minute.
Yeah.
And it's like by the end of the 10 years, we have become deeply capable
Yeah.
of approaching life with a genuinely spiritual um, capabilities.
Yeah.
And we
Completely.
are we are also very capable in many other ways to be able to grow a business that actually is sustainable.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What a nice approach. And I also thought about like in any career, when you get started, you start as an intern. So that's how I also saw my business when I quit, because I was all my 20s, I was in a 9 to 5. And then I was like, well, wow, now my first salary, let's say, as an entrepreneur, it was similar than what I was making as an intern. And at the beginning, I freaked out because everyone, talking about 6, 7 figures in I don't know how many months. I was like, I'm so behind, blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, okay, again, unfollow those accounts and focus on your own journey because you're starting a new career. So how can you expect that in 1 month or in 3 months or in 1 year you will make 7 figures? Like that's there is so much noise out there, but and sometimes we can be influenced by that, but we need to be patient.
well, it's also this. It's an incredible fantasy, an illusion, and you have to think of it this way: there are so many other people in your industry who are so much farther along, so much more skillful.
Yeah.
Don't they deserve the clients? Don't they
Yeah.
deserve
Yeah.
the business and the money?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think let's talk about it in terms of, merit. The more skillful
Yeah.
you are in delivering value, the more it's worth paying you money.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So many people are so much more advanced than us.
Yeah.
They, of course, deserve it. But as we start to, well, then it's like, what about us who are new?
Yeah.
Are we not worth paying? No,
Yeah.
we are worth paying
Yeah.
because we have the advantage of having more time and energy
Mm-hmm.
to talk to people one to one.
Yeah.
So I always tell people, listen, I mean, you look at me, I don't have a big audience, but I have a decent sized audience.
Mm-hmm.
I'm grateful to have plenty of passive income, so called.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Mm-hmm.
this, here's my disadvantage. Okay. That you have an advantage that I don't, right? All of you who are watching this and listening to this, who are new to your business, you
Mm-hmm.
have an advantage that I don't. You are able to actually spend more time one to one with your potential clients.
Yeah.
I it's been years. I cannot take any potential clients on free calls. I don't do
Mm-hmm.
any
Mm-hmm.
one-on-one free
Mm-hmm.
calls.
Mm-hmm.
I barely can respond to people via messaging because I have all these students and clients I have to respond to.
Yeah.
But the new person has more time and energy and motivation to care for their potential client one to one
Yeah.
messaging through. And I always tell people, listen, if someone follows you on social media and you don't have a big audience yet, and if you can message them and you can look at their profile and send them a genuine message to say, my gosh, I'm so grateful for every new follower. I'm grateful. And I looked at your profile and I really
Mm-hmm.
appreciated this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Who does that? No,
Yeah.
almost nobody
Yeah.
does that. And when you are able to, again, when you're new, you're able to give this kind of care to
Yeah.
each new person who follows you, or
Mm-hmm.
to each new email subscriber, or to each new potential client. You're able to give this kind of care. You have that advantage over the more
Yeah.
advanced people. And that's why people are willing to pay you, because you're like, well, I'm paying you for your care. Because
Yeah.
ultimately, people not only pay us for our skills and the
Mm-hmm.
systems we developed,
Mm-hmm.
people pay us more actually for our, shall we say, for the love that we're able to give to them.
Mm-hmm.
They pay us because ultimately at the end of the day, everyone is paying because of human caring.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the
Mm-hmm.
skills, of course, are
Mm-hmm.
important as well, and the value of it. So this is where newbies lean into that
Yeah.
advantage you have,
Yeah.
because there's not enough actual true caring in the world, and in the online world
Yeah.
especially.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a great advantage. Thank you for sharing that perspective. And I like when you say joyful productivity, lightful work. Um, how do you remove those extra things that many people are doing or think they need that for you make it your work more lightful? For example,
Yeah.
I love your setup. In all your videos, you're wearing headphones, and that's it. And when people ask you, which microphone do you recommend, I use my headphones, and that's it. And when I listen to your podcast, when I don't think like, oh, the quality of audio is shitty. Like, no, it's like what he's saying, it has so much value. Of course, there is not like a huge noise in the background, like that would be annoying, but it's good enough. So for
Yes.
me, it makes your content creation pace like more delightful. Is there
Yes.
any other example that you say like,
Oh, I
I don't
love
do
that.
this or I don't do that?
Yeah, totally. Well, one thing I don't do is edit my videos. I know you care enough for your audience where you're actually editing these interviews and videos, which I'm so
Uh,
grateful, because I'm be happy to share them too. But if you look at my videos, I do
mhm,
no editing. I
mhm.
focus on practicing my authentic expression
Yeah,
and letting the audience experience that,
yeah,
knowing that, guess what? My true fans, the people who are most my soulmate audience, the people who are most meant for me,
yeah,
will naturally resonate enough with my energy signature
yeah,
to be patient enough to work through my message and find value in it. Everybody's energy signature is different,
yeah.
right? And so if you're willing to authentically show up and
Mhm,
practice
mhm,
showing up with your soul, whatever that means for you.
mhm.
Some of us might talk faster, some of us might talk slower, some
Yeah,
of us might be louder, some of us might be softer. Some of us might be funnier. Some of us might be more serious. Everybody has a different energy signature. If you're willing to show up as that, you can eliminate much of the other tasks in your business that don't relate to expressing your energy signature. So, like I said, I don't do any video editing. In my email newsletters, for example, I don't write any additional content in my email newsletters. I basically point people to my authentic content
Mm-hmm.
on social media, right? Or I don't, for example, some people, when they prepare for clients, they are preparing so much. They worry about each client meeting and they spend an hour preparing for the clients. And after the client meeting, they spend, half an hour or an hour writing up the notes and saying,
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
don't do any of that.
Yeah.
Okay. When I meet with
Yep.
my clients, not just now when I'm more well developed in my business, even in the beginning, I say,
Yep.
let me prepare for 5 to 15 minutes
Yep.
for the client meeting. What do I feel they really need from me?
Exactly.
How can I show up in a way that shows the most care for them? Wonderful. Okay. So then I prepare for 5 to 15 minutes, some of which is really just my energy reboot, preparing to meet soulfully with my client. Okay. Really be present for them, not worry so much about the agenda. And then I meet with them knowing, again, for most clients, now I know some of us are delivering services. Obviously, we need to deliver the right services and we need to prepare for that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're doing meetings, for example, most of the time they want to know that a human being is really there caring for them with as much authentic expression as possible,
Mm-hmm.
authentic caring as possible, compassion as possible. That's much more important, right?
Yeah.
And if you show up authentically as that, your natural skills are going to come in.
Yeah.
Whatever skills, your technical skills you're doing is of course going to come in there too. Okay. You need to do whatever prep you can, but don't work too hard.
Mm-hmm.
And then afterwards, I send my clients automated. It's an automated follow-up email because they
Mm-hmm.
schedule through Acuity scheduling. I could do a follow-up email that's automated for all my clients. It says, "Hey, I'm glad we met. Please email me back. What is one takeaway from our meeting that you found really
Mm-hmm.
helpful? And what are you looking forward to doing before our next meeting? And if do you have any feedback for me
Yeah.
to make our meetings even more productive for you?"
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
3 questions. And then some clients email back and some clients don't. And the clients who email back, it's very helpful because sometimes they write a lot of notes themselves, say, "Oh, I found this helpful and oh, this is what I'm going to do the next time." If we show up with this kind of authentic confidence,
Yeah.
and if we lean back, metaphorically lean back, and let the clients lean forward
Yeah.
because it's their transformation. If we're going to support them in really changing to become better,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to have to take control of their own
Mm-hmm.
transformation.
Mm-hmm.
We are
Mm-hmm.
there to care and support with that kind of presence. Anyway, so that's another example of working lightly that
Yeah.
works really, really well.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I really like your approach. It's like grounding on your essence and on your presence, and then the other technicals or extra things, those are like if you have extra time, cool, but they are not the essentials, right? Like you said, the
Yeah,
energy signature. I love that concept.
yeah,
And
yeah.
what would you recommend to someone, for example, a holistic practitioner, a coach, or someone who wants to put herself or himself out there, but they are sometimes they are caught on these vanity metrics, like how many likes will I get, or I haven't got enough likes. What is a practical tip you recommend? Is it to write down their original purpose of why they are sharing what they are sharing somewhere visible? Is there anything you can share with us?
Yeah,
These
absolutely.
reminders, yeah.
Yeah. Excuse me here. Hold on. Okay. So when it comes to worrying about vanity metrics and showing up, being
Mhm.
so attached to the results, I have a quote for you from the
Mm.
Bhagavad Gita. It doesn't matter what religion you are. I think this
Mm.
quote will be supportive. It has been
Mhm.
really inspirational for me. And it goes like this: To action alone has thou a right, and never at all to its fruits.
Mm.
Let not the fruits of action be thy motive, neither let there be in thou any attachment to
Mm.
inaction. Therefore, without being attached to the fruits of activities, one should act as a matter of duty, for by working without attachment, one attains the supreme. That quote, when I came across it and reflected on it, really changed my life. Okay. So let me just break down the quote a little bit here. To action alone has thou a right, and never at all to its fruits. Meaning, we have a right to take actions in the world,
Yeah.
but we do not have a right to what fruits come, what results happen as a result of our action. We don't have a right to that. Why is that? Why? Because there are so many factors in the world. Society is going through something. Today, your hormones are doing something so that you show up in a certain way. Today, your audience's hormones or the stars have a certain pattern, and so therefore affects society and affects technology today, affects your audience's feelings or and some cultural things happening. So what you're saying is being perceived in a different whatever, or the algorithm is doing something today that's strange. We have no idea the 1,000 factors that are coming into play affecting the results of our actions. How can we possibly say, I'm going to do A and I will get B results? That's madness. No, now there are patterns that we can notice over time. We do certain things. There are patterns, sure, but not for any one action. We will not say, well, I posted this today. This better get 5 likes like usual or 50 likes like usual. Whatever. The more we can detach from the result, the more we can be authentic to our action. The more we can say, I have the right to the action itself. Let me bring as much of my spirit, let me bring as much of my values into this action as I possibly can. Let me use this action as a tool for my spiritual practice. And then let God, let the divine, let the universe bring the results as it will. But I know this also, that if I continue showing up with actions with as much authentic expression as possible, I know, of course, I'm going to get more skillful. If I keep practicing, I will get more skillful. And those who have more skills will tend to, not always, but will tend to get better results. So the vanity metrics is really you look at how many likes you're getting, how many comments you're getting. You're looking at those as a signal in the long term, as a pattern of signals to say, do I seem to be getting more skillful or not? Am I more attuned to my audience's wants and needs and serving them with as much authenticity and value as possible? If that's only a signal to me, a signal for me to continue practicing expressing more with more authenticity and practicing expressing giving them more value. So I hope that helps.
Yeah. Wow. And with this spiritual quote, it just came to my mind the spiritual lessons we have been learning in our journey in business. And I just wrote down some that you have mentioned. I don't know if it's about you or in general, but you mentioned detachment from results, patience, compassion, and letting go of control of the things we cannot control. Is there any other spiritual lesson you have been
Yeah.
learning through your business?
Yeah. Well, I want to reframe patience,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and even detachment,
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
it can be hard. I know for me, I don't know about those of you who are watching and listening to this,
Mm-hmm.
it could
Mm-hmm.
be hard to think about patience because
Yeah.
patience can be so painful. It's like, oh, how long do I have to wait, right? And the waiting itself can induce some anxiety or some maybe even depression or something like that. So
Yeah.
instead of patience, I like to say surrender.
Mm-hmm.
I like to say, I'm surrendering
Mm-hmm.
to the flow of the Tao. I'm surrendering to the will of the divine.
Yeah.
Thy will be done, not my will.
Yeah.
And so all I have to do is to show up today for today's activities with as much godness, with as much spirituality or the divine spirit. Let the divine spirit flow through me today. Whatever small thing I'm doing, may my deepest values and my highest intentions be expressed in even the small thing I'm doing. And if we are doing that, no patience is needed
Yeah.
because we are in the divine flow, right?
Mm.
And then we surrender to the results and we go, oh, let any results be a delightful surprise to say, I don't have any right to the results. I have a right to my action.
Yeah.
And so if I'm in that divine flow, then I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to pay attention to this, and I'm going to give gratitude
Mm-hmm.
to the fact that I have the opportunity to take this action today.
Yeah.
So many people do not. So many people in the world are barely even able to get up from the bed. They are really sick today. They
Yeah.
are barely even able to stay alive because they have no food at all, anywhere.
Yeah.
Now, some people are in war zones and can barely even don't know if they're going to be bombed today or not.
Mm-hmm.
Today I have the privilege of taking the action of sending an email. I have the
Yeah.
privilege of
Yeah.
of writing. Come on. It's like I'm so grateful for this
Yeah.
privilege, and may I therefore, with the opportunity that so many people do not have,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and not only so many human beings, but so many souls, I imagine
Yes.
so many
Yeah.
souls are saying, how lucky you are to play this game of earth. And we're waiting in the wings to play this game that we get to play right now.
Yeah.
How grateful I am to take this action and then
Mm-hmm.
to therefore, of course, surrender the results.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Yeah.
how I really approach the action today.
Yeah. Oh, it's so beautiful. Now we talked about the spiritual side. I think this is really encouraging. And now I wonder, how can we balance this spirituality and God through me, and then yeah, like soul's expression, but with also planning, because we have a business, no? As you
Yes.
said, like, okay, if you do whatever you want, then maybe it's art and maybe you don't really need money, so you do whatever you want. But in this case, in our case, we need this combination of using our gifts and providing to others, but also matching them with what people need. How can we find this balance between not being too attached to results, but at the same time planning? So,
Yes.
more or
Yes.
less, we need to plan what's going to happen, for example, this year by quarter, or how many posts, or how do you balance these?
Yeah. Mm. Well, let me continue our conversation about bringing spirituality into business
Mm-hmm.
and to answer this question
Mm-hmm.
of planning and getting um, wise planning that is more likely to get the kinds of results and our meet
Yeah.
our goals, right? So the way I think about this is God or the divine
Mm-hmm.
speaks to our business through the market. This is important.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Because God or divine or the universe isn't just how you feel today and what you feel like and what your passion is. Oh, I'm so passionate about this modality I've been trained in, and
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
want to use this modality to everybody that I know. I understand your passion, but that's that's only part of God or the universe or the divine. That's only part
Mm-hmm.
of reality with a capital R.
Mm-hmm.
Another major part of reality is what people need and want at this time
Yeah.
and how they are responding to us. That's also very much God's voice. The divine
Yeah.
expression
Yeah.
is how other people respond to us.
Yeah.
Okay. The market, so called. And
Mm-hmm.
so when we are putting content out there, for example, I hope you are putting lots of content out there because
Mm-hmm.
even content out there is a marketing exercise.
Yeah.
Okay. I like to say marketing is the action of a business finding its calling.
Mm-hmm.
Marketing is the pathway for a business to discover its purpose.
Yeah.
So when we put content out there and we put lots of content out there, we are noticing what is the intersection between our
Mm-hmm.
passion and the market's passion,
Yeah.
okay? Other people responding to us. That intersection is golden. It's the
Completely.
it's the sweet spot
Yeah.
that we are trying to discover. That is the divine will for our business at this time.
Yeah.
So whether it's content, you put 10 pieces of content, you notice these three pieces got most response. Now I hope your content is coming from an authentic place. As
Yeah.
much authentic expression and true heart of service as you can in your content.
Yeah.
And then notice, oh, which of those 10 has the most response? Oh, these three have the most response. That is the divine will,
Yeah.
you might say, or that's the
Mm-hmm.
reality of what the market wants from us,
Yeah.
our authentic expression. So whether it's content or whether it's offers,
Yeah.
oh, I want to provide this service, I want to sell this package, or I want to deliver this program, you should test lightly, test
Mm-hmm.
many different offerings and notice, oh, out of these 10 offerings, The market
Mhm.
is really buying these two things
Yeah.
from me. That is the divine will for your business at this time,
Yeah.
right? Because that's what the market reality with a capital R, that's what society wants from me at this time. Of all the things I could provide,
Yeah.
and everybody who is listening and watching right now, you can provide so many things. I know maybe you were trained in one modality, but even that one modality can be framed in 10 different ways to serve 10 different wants or 10 different
Mhm.
circumstances.
Mhm.
And you've got to try these things to know, okay, what is the divine will right now for me expressing this modality and serving people with that
Mhm.
skill?
I love the sweet spot. Yeah, the
Yes.
golden circle or the
Yes.
intersection. I
Yes.
really like that
Yeah.
that one. Yeah. And probably I should have started with this question, but I wanted to warm up, even if we are towards the end of the episode. But I want to hear your story. I've heard that before in some of your podcast episodes that you got started in online business on the dark side, let's call it that way, like the mainstream practices like persuasion, and then all these big landing pages with a lot of
Funnels.
manipulative funnels and all that. And actually, it worked well, quote unquote, in terms of like money making. But I want to ask you, how when did you realize that that was not authentic to you, or you felt something? Was there a moment, or was it like a different periods of your life, or was there
Yeah.
one aha moment?
Yeah. No, I so appreciate you asking this because really, even from the beginning, I had some spiritual intuition that
Okay.
the manipulative type of marketing wasn't quite right, but I didn't know any other alternative.
Yeah.
Everybody around me who seemed successful
Yeah.
was using, pressure driven sales funnels, and they were, doing free webinars that they say, "Oh, please come and learn wonderful things in this free webinar." But it was a cleverly designed sales pitch, the webinar, right?
Yeah.
And I learned to do that, and I learned to do that well, and I made some money for sure. I made plenty of some money in the beginning, but all that money to me felt like dirty money.
Ah,
It felt
uh-huh.
like I wish I didn't take this money from people in this kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
I felt my soul being kind of like dying with every year I was doing these
Yeah.
tactics. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I said, I don't want to do this for life. Come on, right? And this is why so many people say, "Oh, let's make a lot of money now, and then we can retire on the beach," because the way they're making money isn't a truly joyful
Yeah.
and truly purposeful way. And I
Yeah.
think it's so sad because they try. So many people try, and they never can do it, and they just wasted, seems like 5 or 10 years, doing the things that don't really fulfill their soul. So I said, I don't want to do that. And I also thought about my own father who spent years,
Mm-hmm.
doing business in a way that he didn't really enjoy just to make money. And I'm so
Mm-hmm.
grateful, right? He supported our family,
Yeah.
but probably made more money than we needed, right? And
Mm-hmm.
to do all these things. And like, I wish I don't have to repeat that kind of, and not just my dad. I mean, so many people from his generation and previously just eking out a living. I said,
Yeah.
no, thankfully we have the privilege in our generation now to be able to make money in a truly soulful way. I said, that is what I'm going to take a stand for.
Yeah.
And so I shut down my business essentially,
Mm-hmm.
back in about 2013, 2012, 2014. I basically
Mm-hmm.
started
Mm-hmm.
shutting down everything I was doing there. And I started humbly again in 2014, 2015 to say, if there was an authentic way of business, let me practice and experiment and try to humbly discover what that is. And I said, let me be with the people again and try to serve them with all my heart.
Mm-hmm.
And that beginning was the beginning of experimentation with authentic business, authentic marketing.
Wow, thank you for sharing. And how was it like in a day to day, just for us to imagine like that transition? Was it like you removed your old accounts, or you started new ones? You started
Yeah,
talking more spiritually about business. How was
yeah.
that in
I
practice?
yeah, no, I'm glad you asked because I removed 90, I think it was 90 to 95% of my email list. I unsubscribed
Wow.
them. I unsubscribed them. They didn't unsubscribe. Because I said, you know what? My open rate's not that high anymore. It wasn't.
Hmm.
The open rate was like maybe 10 to 25% at that point. But I said, a lot of these people came to me because they were signing up for a free webinar that was supposed to give them lots of value, but it was really a sales pitch from me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, no, I should not. I should let them go, especially if they haven't opened emails in a while. I'm definitely going to let them go. So over the course of about a year, I unsubscribed about 90 to 95% of my people.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started with a much smaller list and starting fresh. And then I also, like you said, I started experimenting with showing up on video. Up to
Okay.
then, I said, no, I don't like how I sound on video. I don't like how I look on video.
Mm.
We are all so judgmental of
Yeah.
ourselves when we show up on video and hear
Yeah.
how we sound. We're not used
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah.
And so I said, but it's where I can really express my energy signature. I'm just
Yeah.
going to try. I'm going to let people see me. I'm going to let people see who I am and hear how I sound. And I'm going to, when I show up on video, I'm going to talk about things of the soul. I'm going to talk about
Mm.
things that really fulfill my soul. And for the first year of doing that, 2014, for the first 2 years of doing that, year and a half, 2014 all the way to 2015, I barely got any likes.
Mm-hmm.
I showed up on video. I tried to serve and express as
Mm-hmm.
authentically. I barely got any likes for
Mm-hmm.
a year and a half.
Wow.
Very few likes,
Mm-hmm.
almost pretty much no comments. But
Mm-hmm.
I knew that it was a practice.
Yeah.
I read the Bhagavad Gita quote that I shared with you earlier. You know, to
Mm-hmm.
action has thou no right, but only to no to action has thou a right, but not to its fruits. I kept practicing showing up authentically, expressing my energy
Mm-hmm.
signature, and then starting in late 2015 and early 2016, I started to see people inquiring to work with me. And I say, oh my gosh, I haven't been doing any hard selling, and people are now asking to work with me. And by the end of 2016, I had a waiting list of clients.
Mm.
And so it really took that time of continuing to
Yeah.
show up
Yeah.
with video, with text, written content, with as much heart and soul as possible, serving people, engaging with people one to one whenever I could, just messaging with them, engaging with them, showing my care. And then within about 2 years, I had a waiting list. Now, I'm not saying that's going to be true for everybody. Some people
Mm-hmm.
might be shorter time.
Yeah.
Some people might be
Yeah.
longer, but it all
Mm-hmm.
depends on how often we can show up and how
Exactly.
much passion and compassion we can show up.
Mm-hmm. Oh, thank you, George. Thank you so much. I'm conscious about the time. And the last one is just more like an open question. If you want to share anything else to encourage people, like entrepreneurs who are starting to put themselves out there, to go beyond their ego, go beyond vanity metrics, any
Yeah.
other quote,
Yes.
phrase, anything.
Very important tip I want to share with you all is this: input influences your output. So be sure you are taking in information and the presence of
Hmm.
people that you can really trust. That you
Exactly.
say, I really want to emulate this kind of heart and soul and wisdom. So continue following Ali and her content because she is delivering this kind of authenticity and this kind of wisdom to you all. And the more we immerse ourselves in this kind of authentic business advice,
Yeah.
the more your business becomes authentic and successful in the most fulfilling way.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, George. And go and follow George too. Is there anything else you want to share? Like, this will be published probably in March, but like any book, course, or I will just leave the
No.
links on the description box.
I'll just
Mm-hmm.
say you can Google my name, George
Mm-hmm.
Kao. My last name is spelled Kao. So just Google George Kao and you'll find whatever it is you're looking for. That's from me. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, George. I'm so grateful that we had this conversation. I'm gonna re-listen and re-listen it. So
Oh,
beautiful. Thank you so
thank
much.
you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
And thank you guys for watching and for listening. See you next week.